I'm not pretty enough to look at no more.
Oh, nonsense. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Out of the Pocket podcast. This is Boombox here with Mark Showalter. Thank you so much for being here, Mark.
Thank
We're
you,
here
sir.
at the Derby City
Thank you.
Classic
Thank you.
2023. Mark, we're just getting to know one another. Tell me a little something about yourself. Where are you from?
Well, I'm from Garden City, Kansas,
Uh-huh.
and I've lived out there for several years, and I've owned some pool rooms and stuff like that out there. And I used to shoot pool years ago,
Yeah.
but I don't do it much anymore.
All right.
It's been 15, 20 years since I've even been out and about anywhere, so
From what I hear, you got some good stories, though. You used to play with the greats.
I used to play with the greats. I
Yeah.
used to play with Buddy Hall and Strickland and Siegel and all them guys, and I did pretty good. I think I was up about the top 30 in the country at one time. So
What time period are we talking?
we're talking about the mid 80s,
Okay.
early 80s to the mid 90s is when
Okay.
My
And where'd you live during that time period?
Houston, Texas.
Houston, Texas.
I was
Where'd you meet all these guys? Just on the circuit?
a pool room.
Pool room, believe it or not.
No.
Where'd you play in out of Texas?
Houston, where did I play out of?
Yeah.
Slick Willie's. They had a billiard room down there called Cassidy's,
Okay.
and that was the main action pool room in the 80s. And all the great players. That's the first place that Ephraim Reyes ever stopped, the first place.
I'll be darned.
And he come in to play, it was Jose Prica that came first.
Okay.
Earl Strickland was playing him a set for the cash. And the Filipino beat the daylights out of him.
Yeah.
And Earl missed a 3-ball, and he took his shaft and he just raked the whole table off. They just started peeling up like this, you know.
Yeah.
But yeah, we had a lot of great players down there at that time, you know, and I was winning a lot of tournaments in that town. But you know, what had happened was when I was 40, I started having heart attacks.
Yeah. Plural. That's not a good thing to do a lot of. One of them's bad enough, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
5 of them ain't good at all.
Oh my goodness. Well, I'm
And
glad you're here.
I'm
here with
still
us to talk.
kicking.
Yeah.
And
no
I
kidding.
thank you.
Good.
And I got 9 stents in me.
Holy cow.
So the medicine keeps me from being able to,
To play much anymore.
well, yeah, you got to get your adrenaline pumping enough, your
Yeah.
heart rate up enough to get the adrenaline to pump.
Yeah.
And then once your adrenaline starts to pump, you can achieve concentration levels that
Yeah.
you need
Yeah.
to
Absolutely.
play good, you know. But I just feel like I was shorted.
Yeah. Well, I'm sorry to hear that. It sounds like you had an incredible career, though.
I did.
I like what you're talking about there, and I want you to expand on that. I like the idea of that place that we get to somewhere between concentration and excitement and focus, but it's so hard to maintain that level. What do you think it is? How do you think the greats are able to maintain that level for long periods
In
of time?
order to achieve pure concentration, or dead stroke. Let's just say in order to achieve dead stroke, you have to be able to stop at a certain point. Once you get into dead stroke, if you, for a game or two, start to work on your fundamentals again, then the thought will go back away from you and you'll go quiet. It's the whole secret is to try to keep your mind quiet. No calculations, no worries, no trying to do this. Anything trying is not good for
Yeah, I agree.
you. You know, so
You said something real important there, keeping your mind quiet, and I think a lot of people have different techniques to do that, but it's a really hard thing to do.
yeah,
It doesn't matter if it's positive talk, negative talk, any of that talk is distracting you from the mission at hand.
yes, and you know they always say shoot one ball at a time, and that's what you need to do. I did all my calculation as I was going down, but as soon as my fingers hit the table, in the old days, I went quiet.
Yeah.
And a quiet mind, it's hard to achieve. It takes practice. It takes a lot of hard work to get to a level that play like these guys out here. and they have a lot of great players today.
Yep.
They're
Yes, they do.
young.
Yeah.
They do a little bit different things than we used to do in the 80s and what have you. But
So pool in the 80s. I mean, you're primarily playing 9 ball. It's mostly
it was
rotation.
mostly they played a little one pocket, but it was mostly all 9 ball. Yes.
Winter break 9 ball, mud ball, cue ball. What's the equipment like?
Mud ball on with the mud ball on a bar box was hard because the mud ball you had to follow the ball a lot,
Oh yeah.
and instead of trying to draw it, you have to follow it to get the way you want it.
Uh-huh.
Now, if you'll watch a lot of these great players out here, they're going to be following more with the cue ball than they are drawing because you can control your speed more with the follow.
I agree.
It becomes more accuracy, and it's better to achieve the angles.
Yeah.
And it's better to achieve an angle even if it's further away than trying to get too good on the shot. A lot of us try to get too good a position.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes it's best to stay away from that thing, take the angle, and take your shot,
Yep. I agree with that. Yeah, better than getting dead straight, right?
Yeah, it's better than getting, oh no, yeah, you don't want dead straight.
Yeah.
You get two options.
You started talking a little bit about Earl. Let's talk about some of the players you used to play with. You said you remember early on Earl raking the table after a missed 3 ball. Earl's always been a hothead, but was there a time that his anger fueled him? Do you think it ever worked for him?
I believe that too. When I first started out, I never got mad at anybody else, but I get frustrated at myself, and we all do that. So, the secret is you can get frustrated at yourself. It just, you got to try to keep it bottled up inside, because if you do it right and you keep that nervousness or the pressure or madness, sometimes it can turn to energy and to power to create a dead stroke scenario. You know what I'm saying?
I agree.
So, but there was, you was talking about concentration level, and how to maintain it. I've had some, when I used to practice, I practiced the way Irving Crane used to practice. He used to throw the balls out on the table, anywhere on the table, and take the cue ball in hand and run them off, leave the cue ball on the table, and throw them out again and run them off. And I may have one of the biggest runs ever in history of doing that. I have some 700 ball runs on tape.
You have 700 ball runs on tape.
But that was doing it that way, not 14 and 1.
Yeah.
But if they think it's easy, they're more than welcome to try.
How long does a 700 ball run take?
I can tell you how long 1,050 balls take. That was my record.
How long?
6 hours nonstop going around that tape.
Wow.
And
you have this on tape?
Not that one. I have two guys that can verify it, but that don't count because you can't verify it.
Yeah.
But that run took 6 hours from 8 o'clock at night till 2 o'clock in the morning. I was so tired, I said, to hell with it, and I unscrewed my cue and walked off and said, that's perfection.
Wow.
And that's what I done.
Jason Shaw just runs.
And it was 72 racks is what it comes down to.
That's unbelievable.
And they don't,
Yeah.
I used to could play a little, but
Yeah, no
I
kidding.
can't no more.
Wow.
But I still enjoy it, though. I enjoy being here, seeing Madlock and Billy and Cardona and some of the older guys that still remember me from the old days.
Oh yeah.
But the young pups, they don't know who I am no more.
Yeah. Yeah, it's interesting in the pool world. I think about that a lot. I see these guys here who I mean, they walk up and down the halls and they're treated like royalty. People are like, oh my God, in the rest of the world, nobody knows who they are. You know, it's got to be such a surreal thing to be in like certain little places. You're a celebrity, and then the rest of the world, people,
Are we talking about the younger people or the older folks?
all of the above. It doesn't
All
matter
the,
if it's
yeah.
Jose Barrica or Efren or Feder, you know. I mean, those guys walk down the street and nobody knows who they are.
No,
But,
and I wished, I wished that at one time I could have maybe, they would have had the Olympics or something, but,
Yeah,
you
right.
know, it would be nice, to be able to have our sport, in light. And I don't know if they classify it as a sports, but I think it's getting closer.
yeah, I hope so.
I'm hoping within the next 10 years that we can achieve some ground on that.
Yeah.
And
So you're a big run player. You're a 9-ball player. Are you a straight pool player also?
I did when I was a kid.
Okay. What's
practiced.
your high run and straight pool?
Oh, it wasn't very high, maybe 130 or something.
Yeah.
But it wasn't that high. I stopped playing straight pool when I was younger.
Uh-huh.
I enjoyed the heck out of playing straight pool. When I was in Houston, I played with Jack Wright. His name was Jersey Red.
Jersey Red, yeah.
And he was a great player of the time, so
Yeah.
I got a chance to practice with him and playing straight pool. But I think straight pool is a wonderful game to be able to start, because the more balls that you can pocket, the stronger your concentration is going to be, and that's why I practice the way that I was just telling you about the big runs, because if I can run the big runs by just throwing them out and doing ball in hand and then doing it that way, and let's say you run 150 balls, and you're thinking to yourself, well, if I can run 150 balls, I can run 9 balls.
Yeah. All of a sudden it seems really easy.
Yeah, so it's a confidence builder, the way that I do it,
Yeah.
So, but it's,
Yeah, I mean, so Jason Shaw just runs 729 straight pool. I mean, unheard of feat. I mean, that kind of dead stroke is hard to imagine.
it's hard to achieve, and it needs, whatever the kid did, it needs to be authenticated.
It's been authenticated.
Has it?
Oh yeah.
Okay,
No,
that's
Jason Shaw is the world record. And the first thing he said afterwards is, "It's the hardest thing I've ever done in my life, and next time I'm going to break 1,000." So somebody's gunning for your quadruple digits there.
Yeah, I know it, but they're playing connect the racks together as far as straight pool and stuff.
Incredibly hard.
And I wasn't playing straight pool.
Yeah.
But
I understand that.
but
Well, tell me, did you ever go on the road with any of these guys? You ever go on the road with Earl or Buddy? Or...
no. Usually, I had a road player in Houston, Texas, named Roger Allen,
Uh-huh.
and he worked on cues and stuff. But he was
You know that name?
he was my road partner when we were young,
Okay.
and we had a wonderful time. I still call him every now and then, but not like I should.
Yeah. Who does? It's easy to lose track.
Yeah,
of,
it's
right?
easy to lose track, but that's when I was out of Houston.
Okay.
I normally me and my dad was usually going to tournaments together, and he was a good old boy. He's gone now, but I miss him.
Yeah.
But a parent being there, I think it can be rough, but it's self-fulfilling.
Yep.
Because the old man might say something on the side, or he scolds you for doing this or doing that, but it's only because they love you.
Yeah.
That's only because they love you. So,
but it's hard though. It's another distraction. I've always been somebody who I'm a pretty social player. I don't mind talking while I'm playing, all that kind of stuff. But there's something about when I'm in my focus mode, it's like I can allow my friends to be a distraction. It's almost like I allow that to be an excuse for myself to not be able to play my best game. And there's sometimes where I have to just say, hey, you got to walk away. And it's not you, it's me. And every time I say it, I mean, it affects me more than it does them. But
Yeah, yeah.
it's a hard balance to find.
It's a hard balance to find, but they had his name was Dave Yeager. He was, when I was a boy, he was a world champion, but he was into all that meditation and yoga and stuff like this. And they said one time his concentration was so good that somebody threw a beer bottle across the bar and landed at his feet, and he didn't even know it hit. And then after he shot it, what's on the floor here? So, that's the kind of
That's
concentration level that we all strive for.
Yeah, right?
Yeah.
Ronnie Allen did something not so similar, but also involved a beer bottle. I heard he used to play his right hand had a beer bottle in it. He'd keep his Budweiser in his right hand while he was shooting. Did you ever see anything like that?
How'd he keep the beer from in there?
What's that?
How'd he keep from losing the
Well,
beer?
he'd drink it down about halfway. I don't think Ronnie had a full beer for much of his life.
Yeah, he sure did. I seen him when I was a kid in Burlington, Iowa, at a big tournament when I was 16 years old.
Wow.
1976, and I got a chance to see all the greatest players on earth.
That's so cool. So your dad was a player also?
He played snooker a little, yeah, played snooker. He done pretty good.
Well, tell me another story. Pick out a player. Tell me a Buddy Hall story.
Buddy Hall. I don't know if it's true, but I believe he told me this. I said, Buddy, who's the best 9-ball player that you ever seen? And if I recall, he said Luther Lassiter.
Lassiter? Yep.
And I said, Luther Lassiter? Yeah. He said, I went up to play him when I was a young pup, and I come home broke.
Yeah, I imagine.
And I think he had more respect for Luther Lassiter than I think that might have been his idol, but I don't know. Yeah. I only had the pleasure of seeing Luther Lassiter when I was a boy at one of the big Caesars tournaments in Las Vegas.
Okay.
Back in years ago.
How do you think the players of old would match up today with the new players? I mean, it's such a different game these days, such different equipment. How does Luther Lassiter, Buddy Hall, Earl Strickland, how are those guys going to compete with your Josh Fillers, your Federer Gorse, your Shane Van Boening, Tyler Steyer?
I better not say.
No, let's hear it.
If I'd take the old men.
You'd take the old men?
I'd take the old men in the prime, and Ephraim Reyes, Buddy Hall, them guys. They could, I don't know. I watched these guys, and I watched them when I was young, and there was just something different. They just, I don't know what it is, but I would pick my generation, and I wasn't for the generation for Luther Lassiter and Andrew Ponzi and all them guys that used to play Irving Crane.
Yeah.
But I'd have to take my era in the 70s and the 80s.
Yeah. All right. Well, you heard it here first.
Yes, I did.
Yeah. You got any other good stories for me?
No, I got plenty of them, but
not off the top of your head?
just ask me something.
What kind of tournaments did you used to play in? Primarily 9-ball. What's your favorite tournament you ever went to? You ever played Derby?
Never have played here in my life, and I have played in a few U.S. Opens, and they were nice. The last U.S. Open that I went to was in 19. I come out of retirement.
Those U.S. Opens are in Atlantic City or Vegas?
It was in that Vegas tournament, but that wasn't to my liking. This arena here and the atmosphere in here is more like the tournaments of my day.
Yeah.
I really enjoy it here.
What do you think it is about Derby City Classic that's so special that people are so drawn to?
Well, they'll allow you to be able to do what we used to do, I mean, there's still some guys playing for $1 or $2 around here.
Yeah.
And but they've got a lot of tournament matches. The way they set the tables up, the way they have uh, the uh, the scoreboard on top of the lights. That's
Yeah.
the way we used to do it, you know. So I mean, it's an enjoyable place here. I really like it.
I love it too. One of a kind, that's for sure.
Yep, one of a kind.
Do
But
you play any one pocket in your day?
I never did play much one pocket. I had a chance to become a world-class one pocket from an old man in Topeka, Kansas. His name was Calvin Lawton. In the day, they used to call him Rush Out Red. He's about 90 years old right now, and he was a world-class one pocket player.
Wow.
He could take a ball from Grady Matthews and beat him, and if Grady tried to give him a half a ball, now I'm not sure how you do that.
You get half a ball as alternate break, so he would get a ball. He'd get a ball on Grady's break, and he would not get a ball on his break.
Okay.
Yeah, so that's
And Grady would beat him with a half a ball, but it couldn't beat him with a full ball.
Huh.
But I could. The old man was good people. He was real good people.
Yeah.
But in the last few years, I just work on antique pool tables
It's a
and
great
stuff.
segue.
And
You do pool table restoration. I don't know if you guys are going to be able to see this, but this is a piece of prize work right here. Let's see if I can hold it up there. And tell me a little something about this table.
well, that's a J.M. Brunswick from 1876.
Wow.
And I did a museum restoration on that table there.
What part of the country?
I live in Garden City, Kansas.
Mm-hmm.
And it's in western Kansas is where it's at. And I do all my restorations out there, and I have several other high quality tables like that. A couple of them's restored, and I got more of them that's to be restored if somebody comes along and might want one. And I have other tables also, you
Yeah.
know, from the teens, 1800s to 20s or the 30s.
Wow.
I got about 40 of them, I think, somewhere in there.
Wow.
So I enjoy it, with my heart. That's about all I can do anymore.
Well, you can tell. You can tell there's passion put into this work.
Yeah.
How's somebody going to get a hold of you if they want to get a hold of you? Is it this number right here?
Yeah, this number right
I'll
here.
flash it up here so you guys can see. Anybody interested in any pool table restoration? Doesn't sound like quite the cheap kind. You're not going to be fixing dings. You're doing a little more serious work.
I do repair work. If they need repair work on rails or new inlays or whatever it might be, anything to do with an antique table, I love to restore. So I do it the old-fashioned way. I try not to keep as much of the original table as possible.
How do you feel about the difference between your old school style table and, Diamond, which is the primary new table for
Yeah.
competitive pool?
I don't think there's any comparison to them because they're two different girls, let's say.
Yeah, tell me why.
The antique tables, the cushions bounce on a true angle because they have pure gum rubber is on old antique tables with the K55 rubber
Yeah, K55 is your
profile.
preferred. Yep.
And the pockets are bigger. So back in the day, it was easier to make them on the antique pool tables. But
Yeah.
I love playing on the antique tables, but then along come gold crowns in the days that we used to play on all the time.
Yep.
And now they have a wonderful company, Diamond,
Yeah.
that makes a wonderful table. So I hope all the best for them folks and all that. So
I do too. What do you know about the cut of the rubber on a Diamond compared to your old school style table?
I'm not sure what the profile. I think the gentleman over there is
Paul Smith? Yes,
his
the one and
name's
the
Paul.
only. Yep.
Paul Smith.
A different Paul Smith, Paul. Yeah.
he was informing me a little bit about the rail height and the different kinds of rubbers, and he said that the tables after a couple, 3 or 4 days would break in
Yep.
and start playing more like folks are used to. But
Yeah.
the first day or two, it's a little rough to be able to.
Man, they start out with banks out here, and the first couple days they're tricky for sure.
Yeah,
a lot of slipping and sliding, and
I couldn't make a bank straight cross corner
yeah,
on the short side.
yeah, I understand.
So it was a learning process, but I'm
Yeah.
hoping I'll play a match this evening, and I'm hoping that
What are you gonna play? What kind of match are you gonna play?
9 ball.
9-ball.
I'm gonna try to play my old game, but
All right.
it ain't gonna be very pretty, but I'm gonna enjoy it.
So you're entered in the tournament.
Yeah, I played in the bank pool. I won a couple matches,
Oh,
and
shoot, I didn't know that. I thought you said you'd never played out here
I haven't
until now.
until now.
All right. Well, now I'm up to date. Good. Well, good luck to you in 9-ball. I'm glad to have met you. Thank you so much for your time.
I appreciate
This
it,
has
my
been
friend.
wonderful.
Thank you, and hi to anybody that I know.
Yep.
All right.
All right. Thanks for tuning in out there. This is the Out of the Pocket podcast, Bad Boys TV. Mark Showalter. Thanks so much for your time.
Thank you.
See you again.
You consider pride with that point, I understand.